The year is 2026 and you just woke up to the sound of your iPhone alarm going off. You reach over and you turn it off, you put it down and try to go back to sleep for a few minutes. But you have the sensation that you need to check your phone. So you reach back over and you start scrolling on Instagram, catching up on everything you missed the last 8 hours. After you scroll on Instagram for a while, you jump over to TikTok and maybe the news. And before you know it, a whole hour has passed and you haven't even moved from your bed. Hi, my name is Megan, and sometimes I doom scroll a lot. Our phones can be so addicting, but I remember what life was like before having smartphones. When I had a flip phone in middle school and high school, I remember having so much more free time because my phone was basically used just for texting and calling. And with all of this extra free time, I used to do so many different hobbies. An article from Harvard Health Publishing Studies states that having a hobby is associated with better overall health, greater happiness, fewer symptoms of depression, higher life satisfaction, and increased social connection, all of which support mental well being. Meanwhile, doom scrolling has the exact opposite effect. An article from Maureen Solomon finds that the effects of doom scrolling can lead to a decline in mental well being and life satisfaction. So, if you want to stop scrolling your free time away, I'm going to be sharing 6 analog hobbies that will stop you from doom scrolling. All right, let's get started. So, the first one we're going to be talking about is crochet. Now, if you're someone who needs to do something with your hands, this would be the perfect hobby for you. I find that this hobby is really great for beginners. I actually started crocheting at the beginning of 2024. And I think I've done it before back in like elementary before, but it's been many, many years since then. I found that it was really easy for me to start and like jump back into doing it. I actually found plenty of beginner friendly tutorials on YouTube, and I will link some of my favorite tutorials down in the description box. So make sure to check those out. I also find that not only is this really great hobby for beginners, but I find that it's fairly inexpensive to get started. When I crochet, I mostly get acrylic yarn, which is pretty affordable. If you do want to like start crocheting with more like natural fibers like cotton, those can get a little bit more pricier. But I would recommend, if you're starting this, to just get some acrylic yarn and start there. One thing I love about crocheting so much is you can make really anything you want. You can make clothes, you can make little accessories. Something that I really enjoyed making when I first started learning was headbands and fingerless gloves. I've also even made an AirPod case for my friend. I've made some eyeglasses cases for my husband. So there's just so many different things you can make. So some other ideas I've found on Pinterest, which if you're not on Pinterest, you need to get on Pinterest for your inspo because they have so many good options. But one of them that I really like was this really cute tote bag. I thought that was so cute. It's like a two-tone tote bag. Not only is crocheting a fun and relaxing hobby, I also feel that you get a sense of accomplishment whenever you finish a project because you literally created something from just this piece of yarn. So I think that's a really cool project to work on. Really don't need to take an in-person class, but if you do want to take an in-person class, I do suggest it because that's where I learned that I wasn't counting and I need to be counting so I can make sure that my projects all come out the same way every single time. If you're in the Houston location, I would suggest taking a crochet class with the Moxie Collective. That's where I took the crochet class and I really enjoyed them. They had wonderful instructors. Everyone was so patient, really like invested in your crochet journey. I know they also do sewing lessons, but we'll touch back on that in a little bit. If you're looking for some crochet supplies, I'll go ahead and link a link from my Amazon storefront with all the crochet essentials that you need. And I actually went ahead and looked for a couple of different kits that I've gotten. I got a kit from an old coworker, and my mom also got me a crochet kit as well. Basically, it comes with everything you need. So I'll make sure to link some of those kits in my Amazon storefront because I think getting a kit, especially if you're like going to be a beginner and you're not sure if you really want to invest too much into a crochet, a little kit will be perfect because it basically has everything you need, some yarn, some different hooks that you need, the little scissors that it comes with. All right, let's get on to the next one. Next one that we're going to be talking about is embroidery. I feel like embroidery is another beginner-friendly hobby, and it's really easy to do. I actually was introduced to embroidery by my mom when I was about 7 or 8 years old. My mom gifted me and my sister for Christmas a little embroidery kit. I found it really fun. It was, again, another sense of accomplishment, like taking literally a piece of cloth and some thread and creating a little design. I think it's really fun. Something that I really like about embroidery is you can take like an existing piece of clothing you want to personalize, and you can personalize it any way that you want. I found some really cute design ideas on Pinterest, and one that I thought was really cute was this flower, and you can like crochet some flowers onto some tea towels that you have. I also really love these different jean designs that you can embroider either on the front pocket, the back pocket. Some people do it like the bottom of your pant leg, which I think is super adorable. I actually would like to do some of those myself. And also, I love when people crochet little designs at the cuffs of their sleeves on like their button down sleeves. And I've also seen people do like little embroidery designs on their buttons and stuff. Embroidery is a really fun way to like personalize your clothes and make everything really unique. So you can embroider like little felt designs as well. So I found this really cute one, and it's like a little corner bookmark. You can embroider like your name, your initial. I found one with an M, so I think I might do one because my name's Megan. Also, I found these really cute embroidered tea bookmarks, like a little tea bag bookmark. So there's just so many endless possibilities that you can do with embroidery. Again, I feel like it's another relaxing hobby. It doesn't take too many materials. And again, I will go ahead and link some embroidery kits that I can find on Amazon as well. Okay, so now we're going to move into reading books. And reading books is one of my favorite hobbies. As a lifelong reader, I always suggest that people definitely read books. And it doesn't have to be fiction or nonfiction. Read whatever you like, honestly. I prefer fiction as well as like history books, historical fiction. I also love thrillers. I love a big variety of different books, so definitely suggest you get into reading. I actually, in 8th grade, won an award for my middle school for reading the most books out of the whole 8th grade class, and I read 36 books in a single school year. Reading is so important. I feel like everybody should read. It really just exposes you to different ideas, different situations, relationships, and places that you necessarily couldn't come across at that point in your life, or maybe not ever. And I just think it's a really great way to like expand your mind and keep you open-minded about certain things. Honestly, reading, like, it makes me feel like I've experienced 1,000 different lives just by reading books, and I feel like I've traveled so many places just from reading different books on different places. I found a quote that says, "Research shows that access to books results in higher neurocognitive function and better physical health in adulthood." And this article also mentions a study that found that those who read live 23 months longer than those who don't. So, reading is healthy for you. I constantly have like a revolving list of books that I want to read, and I actually have a stack right next to my bed that I need to get to. But I just graduated from my bachelor's degree, so now I have a lot more free time to read. So, I'm definitely going to get started on that. And the book that I'm starting to read now, well, I'm actually in the middle of it right now. I'm reading It by Stephen King, as well as I started this other book. I'll put it here. I forget the name of it, but my friend suggested it. And I'm actually reading the second book of the Silo series. My dad gave that to me like a year or two ago, and I need to go ahead and finish it. So I have a few different books I'm currently reading right now. If you don't have any books like lined up, I suggest just going to your local bookstore. We have a Barnes and Nobles here in Houston that I usually go to, and we're actually about to get another half price books in the neighborhood, so I'm so excited about that. You don't have to go buy books if you don't want to. The library is always a great option. If you don't have a library card, just ask the librarian. They're so nice. And make sure to get a library card. I think everybody should have one. They have so many different resources besides reading, but books are the #1 priority. If you don't know where to start, like if you're not sure what kind of books you like, maybe you haven't read in a while, and you think your taste might have changed, just ask like the store clerk at the bookstore or ask the librarian if they have any suggestions. One thing about people who read, they always have a book to suggest. I know a lot of people get their suggestions from Book Talk. I'm not really on Book Talk, but I always hear people have like great book discussions over there. So check that out as well. But don't get sucked into doom scrolling. One of my favorite things to do after reading a book is to log it. And I really wish I did this when I was younger, because I've read so many books like throughout my life. And sometimes I'll think of like a part of the story and I'm like, dang, what book was that? This is something that I'm doing now in my adulthood. And it's just like having a log of the book that I read. And what I like to include is like the title, the author, how many stars I give this book, and just like a little synopsis so I can like remind myself, and then just giving my like honest opinion about it, like what I liked. If there's any quotes from the book that I really enjoyed, I'll like put all of that on a piece of paper. And I'm actually creating a book log that will be a free downloadable for anybody who watches this video. So make sure to go download it in my description box below. Also, if you don't want to use that, there's tons of other like free options on Pinterest. So you can just like look up book log ideas. I'll like leave a few on the screen too so you can see different ideas. But if you want to try mine, I'll leave it linked down below as well. Okay, so that's enough about reading. Let's move on to writing letters. Now, I'm not really a big letter writer. I've always wanted to be a letter writer. I think it's just so delicate and so cute to like have your little stationery set up and just pen a little letter to a friend who doesn't live in the same city as you. I actually had a little taste of it at the beginning of the year when I was in Paris. I got some postcards for all my friends and family and my husband, and I just loved it. I love writing the little postcard, think of what I could say, what I could share about my trip. I think it's a really good way to connect and just slow down, think about something that you want to share in your personal life, and even ask questions, get to know about somebody else's life. You can write to your friend, your family, a distant relative, anybody, and you can even like make a pen pal. If you do want to do a pen pal, I believe there are websites for it. I'll link a few down in the description box. I personally haven't done pen pals, but I've always heard about it. I remember the first time I ever heard about pen pals was on an episode of Arthur.
It was a pen pal from Japan I wrote to when I was in the 7th grade. I remember this one.
If you're a 90s baby, let me know. This was my favorite show growing up. Yeah, I remember seeing an episode where Arthur was writing to his pen pal, and I thought that was such a cool idea. I've never done it, but I would like to write to a pen pal at some point in my life. Just make sure, I didn't even know this until I was researching for this video, but if you do write to a pen pal, please use a P.O. box, because if you're really writing to a stranger you've never met and they're not like someone you would want to show up at your house, definitely write to a P.O. box or have them send it to a P.O. box just to protect yourself. I know that there's pen pal websites. I've also seen that there's pen pal Facebook groups, so I'll link a few of those down in the description box as well. And you can really make writing letters so much fun by buying some cute stationery. I found some cute ideas here on Pinterest. Get like a whole like kind of ritual, like sit down at your writing desk, pen out a nice letter, get a really cute stamp, and send it off, and then the anticipation of waiting for response. I think that's so much fun. Think about it, people have been writing letters for literally thousands of years, so you're doing something that people in history have always done, and I think that's a really cool idea. All right, moving on to the next one, we have coloring. Now, coloring, I know that's kind of like, okay, is that a hobby? But yes, it is a hobby, and I think it's a really relaxing hobby to do. These other hobbies that I've mentioned, like they take more brain power, and honestly, that's not a bad idea. It's good to always have your neurons firing. But coloring, that's something so relaxing. I feel like at the end of like a long stressful day, I would love nothing more than to just grab my cute little coloring book and my colors and just like draw out a cute picture. And this is something you can do literally anywhere. You could do it at the park, at a coffee shop. Something that I do with one of my friends and I really enjoy is just like going to her house, putting on a movie and just coloring and just chit-chatting. I think it's so much fun and such a good way just to spend time with somebody but not be on your phone. Let me show you my cute coloring supplies. I actually have this really adorable romantasy coloring book I got from Barnes & Nobles last year, and I think it's so cute. They have so many different designs in here, and I'll show you one that I actually finished because sometimes I don't finish them because but yeah, I like this one I've done. They have so many cute designs, like a lot of swords, a lot of like elves and stuff. This one was kind of Alice in Wonderland inspired. The bookstore always has coloring books. I know there's a Texas Art Supply here that has tons of coloring books. Even if you don't want to buy one, you can literally get on Pinterest. There's so many different ones that you can like download and print. This one I got from mandalamonday.com. Actually, my friend got it and I borrowed it from her, but this is just one I've done. They also have tons of different colors on Amazon. I'll link some in my description. And let me show you my coloring box. Actually, my friend gave this to me to use as a sewing box, but I don't have that many sewing supplies just yet. I'm still upping my sewing supplies. So right now I use this cute little box. So cute. It's custom. It says Megan. Thank you, Caitlin. I love this box so much. I have all of my colors in here. Literally all of my, oops, I dropped them all, but yeah, these are all my markers. So, the last hobby we're going to be talking about is sewing. And I really need to step up my sewing game, honestly. I haven't taken an actual sewing class yet. My sister, who has been sewing since she was in high school, has given me like a little crash course, but I need her to give me another one. I think I've sewn exactly one item and really I just hemmed a dress. I didn't hem it right and the thread came out, so I definitely need to get back into it. The one thing that I really love about sewing is the possibilities of creating things are endless. You can literally make your own clothes, hem your clothes, alter the clothes that you've thrifted. You can make pillowcases, you can make tote bags. Literally, the possibilities are endless. Something that I even use pretty daily is just like hand sewing some holes in socks or like holes in sweaters. So you can really do pretty much anything with sewing. Some of my sewing goals actually are to be able to sew my own clothing and make patterns out of clothes that I already own and make more of them basically. Like I have this skirt that I absolutely love, but definitely not the same way that I was when I was 19 when I bought this. So I would like to make a pattern of this skirt and just make it fit my body now. So literally there's so many things you can do with sewing. I actually have been looking for a sewing class to take and I found one from the Moxie Collective, the one that I mentioned earlier with crochet. So I'm gonna see about signing up for a class, maybe take one this fall. But sewing is also another great way just to express your creativity. Like I said, there's so many different things that you can make. I actually have a coworker who she has a sewing machine, but she quilts. So that's another thing that you could do as well. I think it's a Singer sewing machine. No, it's a Brother sewing machine. I'm a little intimidated by it. The one thing that I actually did sew, I actually was just hemming a dress that I bought. It was like way too long when I bought it, so I just hemmed it to make it shorter. And the thread came unraveled, but honestly, I don't think that I did the hem just right. And I'm still learning like the other different types of like stitches that you can do on the sewing machine. So I definitely need to brush up on my sewing skills. This one I will say is a little bit more of an expensive hobby. So I would suggest, trying things small, trying some hand sewing and seeing if it's something that you would like and definitely like take a class. I know the Moxie Collective at their class, you don't have to have a sewing machine. They have some that you can borrow. So I would suggest like taking a sewing class and see if it's something that you want to invest in. But also during these times of just like everything costing so much, I think that learning how to sew your own clothes or even just alter your own clothes is something that can really help you out in the long run. I definitely want to be, whenever me and my husband have kids, want to be that kind of mom that knows how to like sew a little costume for her dance performance, be able to like fix some pants, put a patch on some pants because they've like run out their knees, or just be able to create like a fun Halloween costume. So this is definitely something that I want to start getting into more this year and hopefully over the next few years become pretty good at sewing. All right, y'all, so those are the 6 analog hobbies that will help you from doom scrolling. Thank y'all so much for joining me today. If you made it this far, leave me a comment letting me know which of these hobbies that you're gonna try, and go ahead and like this video, subscribe, and hit the notifications so you'll be notified next time I upload another video. I hope to see y'all next time. Bye!